What's happening, guys? Welcome to the Bigfoot Researcher's Journal. That's right. 12 to 14 foot gigantic monsters are real. And today on Crypto Reality, we're looking at John C. and Mariana Jones' Hungryland monsters, along with some other ones. You can see that is an enormous creature. And there are several together. And apparently they figured that we were noticing them and they started to duck. And you can plainly see those enormous creatures in the background there. And there are several. Stick around, man. Several different creatures in addition to this one today on the Bigfoot Researcher's Journal. So we'll start off the show with a breakdown here of what is around an 8-foot individual. He's achromatic, so he's blending in. What does that mean? The light from the forest canopy and all the plants around him are broadcasting colors that we can't see onto his bright, colorless skin. It's bouncing off, and it's creating illusions, disturbing the actual symmetry of that guy's face. That's all. Looks like he's morphing. This is where these shapeshift comments come from. That's what we think. We think people have witnessed this in real time and not understood. The creature's not morphing. The light retransmitting off of its colorless skin is giving you that impression. Like a swimming pool. And you're sitting at the hotel and you're right there by the pool. And you lay back in your chair and look up. And these little light waves are refracting off the swimming pool onto the ceiling. But if you stare at them long enough, it'll start to confuse the way the ceiling looks. It's the same effect. It's happening right now as we watch this. We know he's in there, and yet he keeps looking strange in between frames. That's called aberration. That aberration gives cameras and software a hell of a time. Every once in a while we get a clear frame and we know the individual is there. And so we continue to study this retransmission phenomenon, as it is the primary cause that these creatures have gone undocumented for as long as they have. So Johnathan DIckenson State Park has a lot of really great hiking to offer. Curiously enough, we don't need to go off trail in these areas to capture the creatures observing us. We're actually standing on a tarmac as we film this. This creature is approximately 60 yards away, and you can plainly see he's there in between the aberrative frames. Immediately, upon seeing that a secondary camera recorded one of the creatures, another camera, another day. So we had a second camera, another DJI. Well, the same DJI, a different day. Let me start this over because I'm retarded. It's interesting how over the years I've learned to, identify when the subjects are present in the footage and things just, ultimately don't look right. I mean, when we start getting into reviewing the footage, we can see when things aren't looking right, and I look at subjects and I don't have trouble identifying that they're there anymore. Where there was a lot to learn regarding finding them in the footage, I'm now to the point where I can pretty much find them in the footage. And they're achromatic, so even though this guy isn't technically covered with diffusion and retransmitting, and the phenomenon's not, blurring out his whole image, he's still incredibly, and there is diffusion hitting him. It's just lower levels of it because of that not being underneath the canopy. And when we really go in and look at all of this stuff in real time, trying to pick these little white spots, but it's not necessarily powder blue. You can see the blue, and there's these holes through the canopy where like a bluish is shining through. This is different, folks. It's different. And no matter what you do, it's not going to change to a blue. And we can see the blue gets bluer the darker I get. But he stays what? Colorless. Alright guys, so we're here tonight and we're looking at a group of these creatures, but one in particular is enormous. Look at these eyes. This creature is so huge, it's astounding. What we see in this footage is a giant hominoid. This bone structure coming out, this is one eye. This is white skin or light gray skin, and he's kind of squinting because the sun's coming down on this side. You can see there's a little bit of a thing, but he's got either hair, nasty weeds, something hanging. You can see this big wide flat Sasquatch nose. You can even get just a sniffle of that mouth line. But as we look at this, you're not even going to believe it, man. Look at that. Look at the creature's eyes opening up where you can see the coloration of the retinas and that huge pupil. Those things could be as big as basketballs. This thing is around 25 feet tall, and there it is. Let's go over it right now on the Bigfoot Researcher's Journal. We're in the editor, and we're looking at footage tonight, and we're examining some really interesting stuff. And what we've got here is a group of enormous creatures, and they're watching my group, right? My research group. And Brian and I and Melanie have several individuals. You can see these guys in the tree line, and there are some really big, I mean, just watch the movement. Here's a huge one right here. You can see this is his nose. There's enormous creatures. And we're getting so much of the aberration. Look at this guy right here. Watch this. Watch this. Uh-oh. There's a huge, long chimpanzee face right in there. We've got several different anomalies here that I'd like to examine a little bit here. We've got what appear to be some kind of point coming off the side of a head. So we've got the round head, and you can plainly see it. And let's see if we can get a little brighter here. We got a forehead down here, but we've got the top of a head and a huge ear. Huge ear. And you can see the side and even the inside with the skin color, the different skin color. Whatever this is appears to have a pointed ear. And this could be a little bit of its shoulder sticking out from behind whatever else this is. But There is some really interesting stuff in this footage, and I think you can see right in here. You can just watch this spot right here. Watch that. Uh-oh. There's some serious movement going on there, and some color changes. And you know, as we look at this, the footage, I mean, you can see this thing's head. It's got this bone structure, right? We got the eyebrow area. You can see the eyes of the creature. This is going to be the nose, the bottom of it, and the long upper lip, and we've got like a mouth line down here, and we've got this huge Sasquatch in here, along with what appears to be a guy with a brow ridge, a nice bulbous nose, and possibly some kind of an ear. It's some really interesting footage, and I don't know, you know, what species you would even begin to identify as something like this. I know we're seeing enormous individuals. If you know anything about Bigfoot, then you know what you're looking at. And here we go with this point again on the side of the head. We got a real wide nose, and this is a creature. We're looking at the real thing here, and this is actually what these groups look like. These are the kind of things that nobody sees. Look at this eye opening up right here. Watch this. Oh, geez. I mean, this is nuts. What is this? What creature is this that has this pointed ear? And is there another one over here? There appears to be two of these things, whatever they are. And that whole side of the tree line is just alive. But you can see this creature right here is an amazing shot. And now again, these things are enormous. This is about the 6-foot mark right in here. And the heads are drastically larger than you would typically expect, I would think, from like even Sasquatch, given the nature of our anecdotal reports. I mean, come on, man. All the anecdotal evidence that's been published seems to stay below the 12-foot mark, and 12 is pushing it. This here. Okay, so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a look at the editing program and basically how I use it. And it's very complicated. If you're not familiar with what this is Final Cut Pro, and you can see in here's the actual film that I'm working on. And what the program allows me to do is, first we shoot the footage, and here, let me clean this up so that we can see very clearly how this works. Now, when I shoot footage in the field, when Melanie and I shoot footage in the field, whenever we have footage and I want to make a film, I have to ensure that I get the footage off of the device safely, and that's really the first part of it. And once I load it into my hard drives, which you know, we have a couple different kinds that we use right now. We're actually using some Sony hard drives, and I think I have maybe an extra one I can show you here. And the external hard drives basically look like this. This is a 1 terabyte external hard drive, and you know, it's USB. It plugs right in, and that allows me to store the film outside of the computer. And why is that important? Because the computers have a limited amount of memory. So as you put things on the computer, the random access memory starts to lag because there's way too much stuff that it's carrying. It's like, compare it to a backpack, right? Your computer is a backpack, and you can put so much stuff in there. But the more stuff you put in, even the heavier stuff you put in there, as you carry it, you get tired real quick and you start to slow down. It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same kind of concept there. So external hard drives are particularly important to what we do because we shoot a lot of film, and our minimum of what we shoot in is 1080p. Our maximum is 4000. So where your resolutions are concerned, the files will get heavier the greater the resolution. Obviously, with what we're dealing with and the nature of the Bigfoot species and where we shoot these films, we want to have the best resolution possible. So we don't ever shoot under 1080p. And if you do, then your films are going to suffer. The clarity is going to suffer, in which that translates down the line to damaging your reputation as a Bigfoot researcher, as someone who documents the species. So don't settle. And there are a lot of people out there who don't have a choice. However, they do have a choice in what they share. And that's where the rubber meets the road, where cryptoreality.us is concerned. Do we show you guys, clips where it's blurry at first and then bam, it comes into the clearest part of the shot? Absolutely. To express the reality of what's on film, we do that. When we share images, we share the best we have, because they're still frames. So we take the best still frames off of our films, and then we share them in the groups, we share them publicly to show people what the Bigfoot species looks like. But we could not do that if it wasn't for the fact that we shoot in a minimum of 1080p resolution, and of course with the drone, we have a maximum of 4,000. Okay, so now what we're going to look at, and probably the most important aspect of my job, is reviewing film for two very important reasons. The first reason being, it's very difficult to actually see the Bigfoot visually when you're in the field. It's not that it hasn't happened. It's happened to me 8 times at this point, 7 times in the last 2 years, and then once in 2013, which was triggered all of this in my life. So, but in looking at what's going on, where the Bigfoot subject is concerned in general, what I do is in short supply, because there are a lot of people that shoot a lot of footage of real Bigfoot and don't know it. Not only that, but they're shooting again in low resolution, so even if they do see it, it ends up being something that you really can't even tell what it is. The idea with all of this, if you're going to shoot film, is to produce high quality imaging of the Bigfoot species. So why else would you be hiking 1,000 miles, shooting all this footage and everything? You want to have a sighting, you can just go hiking. It's real simple. You don't need to carry 50 pounds worth of stuff every time you go in the bushes and, shoot all this and trying to hold still and the bugs are all over you and all this stuff. So the idea is to actually get high quality images. So you've got to do it, and that begins, like I said, by shooting in the high resolution. And if you're not doing that, then you need to get to where you can do that. This single piece of new technology, implemented correctly and strategically in our research, will enable us to do even more incredible things.